Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Razor's Edge with Jamie. Joining me today to talk all about his band's brand new album, their first album in 8 years, Everything Destroys You, available May 12th. A band that I first saw live supporting electronic legend Mortis in April 2007. Joining me from Def Glam legends Deathstars, it's Skinny Disco.
Yeah, it's me. Woohoo!
You.
Yeah, it feels great to be back. Actually, even though we never officially left, it's been a long gap in between albums. It usually is a long gap in between albums, but this time, yeah, it was a little bit too long, maybe
a little bit longer than normal. But before we talk about that album, take us back to the start. If my research is correct, you joined the band just as a live bass player. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I think I had. Yeah, the idea was maybe I had like one festival show or something. And then, no, I think actually I joined the band and we did, yeah, maybe some festivals. And then we went on a tour supporting Paradise Lost. It was in 2003. And right before the tour, they said like, yeah, of course, you're a member. You should be in the band. So yeah, it was perfect. You know, I really didn't want to be in the band from the start. So when
so it wasn't really your choice to join, they just sort of made you.
Yeah, sort of. No, it was Whiplasher. I met him out in Stockholm at a bar, and he's like, "Hey, I know you play guitar. You could probably play bass as well. Why don't you come play in my band?" And I'm like, "What band is it?" And he's like, "It's Deathstars." And I was like, "No way, no way." And he's like, "Why?" Well, my ex-girlfriend, she used to think you guys were so hot, and I told her that I hate you guys. So I could never do that with a straight face, you know. And he's like, "No, but come on." And then, you know, he was nagging, calling me all the time. I was like, "Come on, you know, I have an album laying down here waiting for you, you know, just listen to a few of the songs. You'll like it, you know." And then eventually I said, "Oh, what's the harm in just going and try out for the band?" So I did. And I realized that the guys were just like me. They like to party and play music. So we had a good time. And then here I am 20 years later.
That's incredible. So did you know the guys originally beforehand then, or?
No, it was just Whiplasher who had bumped into like nightclubs in Stockholm previously. So no, not really.
That's amazing. So I've got to ask, because I'm going to assume it's not a birth name. Where does the name Skinny Disco come from?
Yeah, well, my birth name is Jonas, and in my age, or when I was born, like everybody in Sweden was named Jonas. So when I growing up in my teens, started playing in bands, people said like, "Yeah, there's no way we're gonna call you Jonas 1, Jonas 2, Jonas 3." So they started calling me Skinny because I was the skinny guy. And I think it was in 2003, right, where I joined Deathstars. I actually changed it legally, so it's in my passport. And mom is not super happy with it. But you know, everybody's calling me Skinny, so why shouldn't it be my name? I think.
That's incredible. I didn't realize you'd actually changed your name legally to Skinny. That is amazing.
And then Disco, that just came out after me and Whiplasher went out partying one night, and he saw my dance moves. So it's skinny disco.
So it's not so much a name, but more of a dance move. I like it. It's great. So take us back to the start for you. Where does the love of music, and particularly like metal music, come from?
Yeah, well, born 1979. I was about 6 or 7 when Europe hit it hard in Sweden. So when I heard Final Countdown, I was hooked immediately. And my uncle, he realized that I liked rock music. So he came with a pile of vinyls and said, "You got to listen to this." And it was Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Jimi Hendrix, Frank Marino, Pink Floyd, all of that classic rock kind of thing. And then out of that, I found stuff myself. You know, it was these days when you bought an album because of the cover. I remember I bought a collection album of it was like various artists. It was called So Heavy It Hurts, and it was the screaming face on the cover, and it was I remember taking the album home and listening to it. I was probably about 10 or 11, and it made my stomach turn. I got almost like anguish and stomach pain from listening to it. So I wanted to listen to it all over and over and over again. And I found the same record again a few years later, and I listened to it, and the songs are so lame. You know? It's like, yeah, of course there are some really cool songs, like there's one Motorhead track and one Metal Church song on there, but most of the songs are like TNT, 10,000 Lovers, and you know, stuff like that, you know.
Not really sickening material anymore. No.
No, but you know, I think the bars, you know, risen a little bit since then, so it's funny to see, at least.
I completely get it with the Final Countdown, though, especially if you become a guitar player, because I don't care what anyone says, that is one of the greatest guitar solos of all time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. And again, I agree with album covers, because I'm very, very much a visual person. My favorite band on this planet is Kiss, because they just look so damn cool. It sort of dragged me in as a child. And I remember it's how I even picked up the first Deathstars record, because I saw the album cover and I was like, they look cool. I thought it could be my kind of music, and it was.
So, yeah, super. Yeah, no, but that's how it works, right?
Absolutely. So, what made you decide you actually wanted to start playing music? Obviously, listening to it, but then there's wanting to make your own.
Yeah, well, it was again my uncle there. He was playing guitar, and when I heard him play, I just realized I want to do the same, and I want to be better than him. So I started practicing. I'm not sure if I got better than him, but you know, at least I got to do what I wanted to. And yeah, definitely that. And of course, listening to a lot of music.
Well, is your uncle about to release an album? No, you are. So there you are.
Exactly.
There you are. So when it comes to writing music with Deathstars, what's the songwriting process like? Is it lyrics first and then Nightmare comes in with this beautiful riff and you build on that, or whatever it might be?
Well, usually no, it's usually the music first and then the vocals on top of it. But this album, we really already at an early stage, if we just had a verse or if we had a chorus or something, we tried out the vocals together with that to see where the vocals wanted to go, and it felt like a more natural way of working instead of trying to squeeze vocals into parts, you know, like but it has worked previously, but I think this is a more natural way of working to see where does the song or vocals want to go, and yeah, I think it helped the songwriting on this album a lot to also broaden our way of writing. So yeah,
that's what I love about songwriting. Whenever I talk to songwriters, because every band has a completely different way of doing it, because it's not a science. It's, you know, whatever works for you at the end of the day.
Exactly.
I love it. So let's talk about Everything Destroys You, your first album in 8 years. How excited are you for you to people to hear this record?
It feels great, and already just by releasing these 3 singles which we have out now, it feels like we've had got all the love that we want, you know, that we feel the album is the respect it needs, sort of. It's it's a relief to have it, because I think personally this work ahead of a release or ahead of even in the recording process, it's kind of fatiguing. It's, you know, it makes you really exhausted, because and when you actually get to release it and come out and play, that's the receipt, and that's why you do it, I think, or at least for me. It is a very, very long process with a lot of misunderstandings in various chats with the band members, and no, this is the way it's got to be, no, you know, and all the misunderstanding, and I'm so tired of it. It's so much better just to meet and play together.
Yeah, absolutely. But I suppose the obvious question is, what took so long? Why 8 years?
Well, we've never been fast. We're not the most efficient guys. It's usually about 5 years in between the albums, and this time we almost had we had the album ready to go before before the pandemic, but then yeah, we got some extra time and we wrote some new tracks that we thought were stronger, and we also reworked some of the other tracks, which means that personally we think it's an album without fillers at all. It's really it's a strong and solid album in our opinion, and yeah, that's what you usually aim for, you know, and with this extra time we had the possibility of doing it. So yeah, it feels great that without that pressure of time, you know.
Yeah. But is the pandemic why you've waited that little bit extra time to release it instead of releasing it during the pandemic?
It's been both. We had, yeah, we're always kind of late on the ball, you know. It's not just like, because when an album is done, it's not like, okay, now we can release it. We have to release it because you need to find the guy that can mix it and can do it in his schedule, and then you need to work with the record label so that they can promote it, and they need almost half a year just to you know. It's, and then we had a situation where vinyls weren't being, you know, you couldn't press the vinyls so that they would come out in time. So all these little things add up, and then we decided that okay, we cannot release it ahead of the pandemic. We didn't know the pandemic were coming, but we knew that we were going to have to delay it, and then the pandemic happened. So then we pulled all the brakes and said like, okay, let's do this properly and wait until this blows over. And yeah,
so it's crazy. One thing I love when I talk to musicians, and you find out like the album they're promoting, they finished it absolutely ages ago, but they've had to wait for so many different things. They're like, oh, I just want to get this out there now. I'm sick of waiting.
Yeah.
I know if that was me though, I'd like you said, like I'd constantly be going, well, I could tweak this a little bit, couldn't I? I could change this a little bit. Yeah. This could do have a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it's good in a sense though that, you know, you got together and you went, let's redo this, let's redo that, and now you've got that album you really want to get out there.
Yeah, but then there's a fine line. There's also that, you know, sometimes it's hard to know when to stop twiddling on things. But in this case, I think it really helped the album, and we need time. You know, we don't need 8-9 years. It's not that. It's just that we need a time to find a time when we don't feel the pressure. It's mostly that, I think. So, but we've started writing new songs already, so I think it's not going to be as long. But and then these days, I don't know if it's any point in releasing a whole album. You know, it's like probably just send out a new song every now and then is probably the right way to do it these days. But it's hard to work out a way to promote it in that sense as well, you know. So
again, like you're saying, a lot of modern musicians do that, don't they? They just go, well, Spotify's a thing. I've written a song. There you go, have it. What's the point in waiting? Just have it.
Yeah.
But what's the feedback been like on the 3 singles you've released so far?
Amazing, a lot of love. I think, you know, of course, you kind of not nervous, but you're anxious to see if people think the same as you, that we've done a good job. So especially on the first single when we released this, is, you know, you're kind of checking the comments on the videos and stuff like that, and yeah, amazing. I think it's proven that we have a very solid fan base, which never lets go, and then also we found some new fans, and that's amazing too. I just look forward to come out and play and meet everybody again and see they're as old as me.
Have you played any of these songs live yet?
Yeah, we went to Malta just last weekend, and we played the 3 singles which we've released, and it feels like they suit the set already. So
amazing.
Yeah, great.
So I was very fortunate to get an advanced listen of the album, and it is, as you said, it's fantastic. It's some of your best. There is no fillers on this album. I'm not just saying this because you're here. It's not. There's no fillers. It is a great album. I was especially a fan of This Is. That is an incredible opening track. If there's any song that could go, we're Deathstars, we're back, here we are, that is the perfect one. It is a fantastic opening track. And between Volumes and Voids and Angel of Fortune and Crime, those 3 stood out to me especially. Great songs.
Yeah,
Great songs. But what songs on the record stand out to you that you can't wait to hear? Maybe that aren't the 3 singles.
Yeah, well, for me, I think Anatomic Prayer is like it's a progressive rock anthem. Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs, definitely. And also I like Blood for Miles. It's almost, yeah, there's one part that's almost like a James Bond theme, which I really like. Yeah, and really early on, I knew that Midnight Party, even though we released it, I knew that it was going to be, it had that perfect hook that I like and I wanted to party to. But yeah, great. Churches of Oil is also great song. And as you said, Between Volumes and Voids, yeah. I think it's a great album, and it shows what we wanted to portray on this album is also like the variety that we have as a band, you know, find a dynamic and what we I think lacked a little bit in the past is a few faster songs, and with this album we actually we have some more high tempo songs that are going to be great to put into the live set as well. So even like, yeah, This Is or Anti-All or songs like that, it's, yeah, we're happy about it.
You should be. It's incredible, like I said. But when you're talking about playing live, how do you go around putting a set list together? Because you've got so many albums out now. It must be really hard to pick what songs you want to play at this point.
No, but it's actually easier these days because you have quite a pool of good live songs to pick from. So you could mix things up, and one festival you could do this set, you could do that set next time, you know. It's a luxury these days, you know, to have more albums to pick from, I think. And you know, you could start looking at, okay, what are people listening to on streaming platforms, and see what are the top songs like that. And maybe you find a song that like, oh, people are listening to this song. We didn't know that this one was doing so well. So there's a great way of using statistics as well, you know, so it's fun.
You know, I think you're the first musician I spoke to that's actually said, let's look at the songs people are listening to that they want to hear live, and let's actually do those ones. That's a great, I really like that. That's awesome. And talking of playing live, you do have a European tour coming up starting in October, including the UK here in November. How excited are you to get back out on the road and play these songs live?
Well, yeah, it's the receipt. This is why we do music. This is why we want to come out. You know, we want to come out and meet people and play for people. This is why we do it. So I'm super excited, and I just hope nothing else happens in the world that will put an end to it. You know, I don't have high faith right now, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that everything is turning out all right, and that we can do the whole leg and, you know, have a lot of fun and meet a lot of amazing people.
Like you said, like, people play music to play live, and you guys, you're a party band, so I can only imagine it's going to be a great tour.
Yeah.
Incredible. Before I let you go, if people are listening to this and for some reason have never heard Deathstars before, somehow, I don't know how that's ever happened, but what's 1 or 2 tracks you might recommend checking out from your back catalogue to people to get a good taste of Deathstars?
I would say Tongues is a track which I know a lot of people fall for when they hear it. Yeah, and Cyanide is probably also, you know, a good track to hear. Absolutely. But then I think the most important thing is maybe come and see us live, because I think a lot of people have the assumption of us being that kind of record band, and I think we're quite different live. It's more of a rock and roll show, more high energy and more almost punk rock, not in a chaos way, but more just energy. And there are 2 different things. I think, yeah, it's not that we try to change the music live. It's just it is a different vibe live, I think. And I know people that doesn't really like our music, they like seeing us live anyway. So which is, I think, a good compliment, no matter what.
I was going to say it's a bit of a backwards compliment, but I like it. It's good. It works.
Any compliment is a good compliment, I think.
Absolutely. A compliment is a compliment at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just one other thing, I love asking musicians this question, so I'm going to throw it out there. Music videos, making them wise, do you love it or do you absolutely hate it?
No, but it can be very creative doing it, but there's also that stress. You don't know what it's going to be like, until it gets cut. So you could feel so stupid standing there headbanging in a quiet room, and but in the end, you gotta trust the people you work with. So, but yeah, it's both. I think it's usually very long days, so you get bored, but it's still quite creative. So I would say, yeah, medium. It's fun.
Somewhere in the middle, I like it. Yeah. So we've spoke to musicians before, and some of them are like, "Oh my god, this is great! It's awesome! We're putting this together for our song." And then there's other people like, "If I have to hear that song one more time on this day, I'm going to go crazy about my own song."
Yeah, well, that never happened actually. It's like you see it for what it is. I think you can disconnect. Just get the work done anyway.
I love it. It's amazing. Like, thank you so much for doing this. Best of luck with the record, and I hope to be able to come see you on tour in November. But I know we're here today to talk about Deathstars, but I do want to quickly mention you do have another band out there, The Herd. For those who aren't aware, what sort of style of music is The Herd? Is it similar to Deathstars, different to Deathstars?
No, it's different to Deathstars. It's I would say it's more heavy rock music with a lot of 70s influences. Maybe not the typical verse, chorus, the bridge chorus, the double chorus at the end. We could maybe extend to whatever we feel like. So we, in a way, kind of more progressive, but not crazy in any way. We have, we don't limit ourselves. But yeah, the coolest thing is that this is a band that we formed. It was the previous band was called Crucified Barbara, and when their singer left, the other girls called me and said, like, could you come and play guitar? We want to do something darker and more sinister and with heavy guitars, and we want you to play guitar. So I said, like, this, I was a big fan of Crucified Barbara, so I wanted to play with those girls. And then we found the vocalist Pepper, which is like a burlesque dancer. So she's amazing on stage as well. So she always have, I don't have to be the one that seeks the attention of the crowd, because she's got that covered, and it feels great. I could just focus on playing. That's amazing.
I can stand back. I can have 2 extra strings. I'm in.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what you need. If you have 2 extra strings, you need to focus. Right? Not the usual 7 beers ahead of the show.
Skinny, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this. Before you go, there any plugs, social medias, anything you want people to go check out?
No, but yeah, check our Instagram and Facebook we're better these days to update on what's happening, and we really look forward to going on tour and meeting everybody. And thanks for being patient of waiting all these years for a new album. I know you're gonna like it, but please let us know what you think. So amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Everything Destroys You, available May 12th. And as the man himself just said, you're going to love this album. It is fantastic.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.